Good morning, everyone. Hope you all are thriving, not just surviving. Happy Friday. Whew, we have a lot to get to today. Oh, geez, where are we even starting? I need my coffee. Hold on, I'm coming back. Hello. Okay. All right. Sorry, I know I took a little while to get on this morning, but, you know, we're here. We're here. Where do we even want to start? Because I swear, you know, today's live is going to be interesting. I say that every day. Today's live is going to be interesting. Oh, it's going to be a big one. Oh, like I say that every day. Like I really do. Oops. But yeah, so today, we're going to talk about this. Okay. So I've reached every single one of you. There you are. Yes, hello. Yeah, I know. I said I was gonna go live and then I had a couple minutes between that. So I was just kind of getting all settled. Oh, this is gonna be an interesting live today. And again, I say that every single day. I say that every single time. But you know, I think that it might get a little bit feisty down in the comment section because there are delusional MAGA cultists that, of course, are like, wah! You know, and they're going to be all up in arms. But we'll talk about everything here. So make sure to send some likes as you pop in here. Good morning, Ilisa. I hope you are doing well. Let me take a sip of my coffee here. Nothing like some coffee to take in the morning crap that we have to deal with in this country. So, all right, here we go. Good morning, beautiful people. I hope you all are thriving, not just surviving, like I am right now, reading these kinds of stupid headlines. Trump named undisputed champion of beautiful clean coal by industry group. So there were these coal CEOs and industry were basically like, let's create this award and give it to Trump like a toddler. And they did. So let's get all into it here. So Donald Trump was crowned the undisputed, why do they have to add that kind of wording in there? Undisputed champion. Someone said that there was another entry, and I said I must knock them out. I am the only one, the one and only champion of beautiful clean coal. Clean coal is an oxymoron. There is no such thing. There's no such thing as clean coal. Oh my God. I have a background in sustainable development, environmental science, climatology. Like I went to school for that. And so whenever I see people talk about clean coal, it literally drives me up a wall. It makes me go bananas. It makes me want to take a cheese grater to my forehead. Send some likes, I love all of you. But Donald Trump was crowned the undisputed champion of beautiful clean coal during a White House ceremony on Wednesday, during which the president received a trophy, God, like a toddler, after ordering the U.S. Department of Defense to purchase billions of dollars worth of power from coal plants. God, that's such a waste. So, as someone who has a degree, a sustainable development degree, I specifically studied energy. Not only is coal so bad environmentally, but it is incredibly inefficient. It is so inefficient. It's one of the most inefficient forms of energy. There's like literally only downsides to coal compared to other energy sources. So it's, like just seeing this, like he has some sort of coal fetish is what it is. Anyway, but The award was reportedly granted by the Washington Coal Club. God, it's even a thing? An advocacy group with financial ties to the coal industry. So we'll talk about that all. But James Greach, the CEO of Peabody Energy, the largest coal company in the U.S., presented Trump with the bronze trophy that depicts a coal miner donning headlamp and pick. We stand here today representing the thousands of coal miners across the country to express our deep gratitude to you, sir, for the actions you've taken to support our industry, Greach said to Trump during the ceremony. And for those of you who might be wondering, okay, I know that coal is bad. I know that it's like a polluting form of energy. But can you tell us a little bit about why this is so dumb in particular? Like, is there such a thing as clean coal? No, there's not a thing called clean coal. I want to point out, there is no such thing as a 100% pure, clean energy source. And I'm saying that as someone who has a degree in sustainable development. There is no such thing as an energy source that is 100% purely clean. Now you're like, well, what about clean energy? Clean energy, they use that term to specifically mention, okay, clean energy is a huge decrease from polluting energy or fossil fuels. So clean energy isn't 100% clean. That's just a fact. But the word to replace that with is like harm mitigation. Clean energy is significantly better than dirty energy. So we'll talk about all of that stuff. But several Republican lawmakers and cabinet members also attended the ceremony, including Environmental Protection Agency Administrator Lee Zeldin. Love that. So that's wonderful, right? And all this being said, we're lifting up our hardworking American miners like no one has ever done. At the end of the event, Trump announced the Department of Energy would allocate $175 million in funding to 6 projects to modernize, retrofit, and extend the life of coal-fired power plants. Okay, God, that's so stupid. All right, so I actually have a background in energy. So for people who are like, okay, I don't understand. I know like what energy is. I know what, coal energy versus natural gas versus wind versus solar. I'm here to give you a rundown on actually how our grid works and what energy sources are out there. What are the benefits and costs of course, to the environment, but also to energy and grid resiliency, and then also to health effects for humans. So when my degree is in sustainable development, and you're like, oh, so that sounds like incredibly woke. Sustainable development, what it is it combines economics, environment, social, and political all into one thing. My specialty actually, in school, I went to Appalachian State, was studying energy. How energy works in regards to power plants, how it's delivered, how it's consumed, what we need to do to create a cleaner but also more resilient network. And how do we do that economically, politically, all of that. That's actually my background. So I'm about to go a little bit into a deep dive on how energy works. So if you're enjoying the stream, please make sure to tap the screen down there. I appreciate every single one of you. This will actually be really enlightening, and I'm going to try to describe it as easy as I can. All right. So you all, of course, know energy as that thing that you plug into the wall and you get electricity, or you turn on the light and there it is, or you turn on your car and there you go. So you're like, well, how is energy actually even produced? So that's a good question. How do we even get all of this? I'm pointing upwards at my lights. How do we even get all of this? How do certain energy sources work? Most of the time, the way that energy has always been produced in the United States is literally rubbing magnets together. The way that most energy sources work is rubbing magnets together, and it creates electricity. It creates energy, a spark. Now you're like, okay, well, how are we going to get those magnets to rub together? You're like, oh, I'll just use power. Just plug it into the, oh crap. Well, we need something to start moving that. Well, you're not going to have a whole bunch of people just moving those magnets back and forth to create that much energy. So the way that most energy has been produced in the world and in the United States is in order to turn those magnets that create the electricity, you have to have a force behind it. Steam, S-T-E-A-M, which is, water vapor, steam, actually has a really strong, powerful force that can move those magnets, move a turbine that moves those magnets. So we're like, okay, well, how do you generate steam? You burn different materials like coal or natural gas. And you're like, okay, well, that creates steam because you boil the water. So this is how coal power plants work. They generate electricity by burning coal, which produces steam, which turns a turbine connected to a generator that turns magnets. Now, that's a lot. But basically, you burn the stuff, it heats the water, creates steam that turns a turbine that then moves the magnets. Then you have electricity. And you can replace coal with something else like natural gas. This is how fossil fuel energy has always worked. So almost all energy sources throughout the world have literally been burning something in order to create steam to turn a turbine that rubs magnets together to generate electricity. There are different forms of energy like solar and wind that function a little bit differently. If we're talking about solar photovoltaic, that's what you see on the top of different buildings. That's what you see when you think of solar panels. That is a completely different model on how they produce electricity. And then you have solar thermal, which is when you have like the mirrors that then basically heat up a lot of water by getting like the heat from the mirrors and stuff like that, pumping it through, that then has water vapor, turns a turbine. You get my gist. So the reason why coal power plants are just purely so inefficient is because you have to burn a lot of coal to get like a certain amount of energy. The reason why people say natural gas is cleaner burning is because you can get more from it, more energy from it, and also it is less polluting. So in regards to coal versus natural gas, it is better energy-wise, but also better environmentally speaking, you can argue. There's definitely downsides to natural gas, like lots of them environmentally. We'll get to that. But just to kind of put it all out there, coal power plants generate electricity by burning coal to produce steam, which then turns a turbine connected to a generator. So that's how it works. I hope we made that very, very clear. It's actually fascinating when you think about it, because not a lot of people truly know how you create electricity. Most always, it is literally burning something to heat up water that then creates water vapor, steam, turns a turbine, which then moves magnets back and forth, energy. Electricity is created. Cool. So the step-by-step is here for coal is like this. You can see a visual. You burn the coal gets really, really hot. There's the water. It creates steam. That steam turns a turbine, rubs the magnets together, and electricity is created. You can have a model similar to this with natural gas. That's how that works. So coal is crushed into a fine powder, then it burns. Then the powdered coal is burned in a furnace. Heat converts the water boilers tubes into high pressure steam. Then steam turns the turbine. The turbine spins a generator producing electricity. Now afterwards, you're like, well, crap, we have literally a whole bunch of ash. We have a whole bunch of crud. So, all right, we have to cool the water back using cooling towers. And then modern plants use scrubbers and filters so that the coal ash isn't just released into the atmosphere. Now, there's always some particulate matter that comes out of the smokestack. Whenever you drive past a coal-fired power plant or something like that, you'll see like some stuff. They put a scrubber, so meaning they capture a good amount of the coal ash at the top, and what they end up doing is they end up putting it in a landfill. So that's how coal energy works. But I want to point out one thing here. So coal ash is incredibly toxic and poisonous. The reason why coal energy is the worst of the fossil fuels, environmentally speaking, is because you have several different forms of pollutants. You have not only the mining that goes into it, which can have acid mine drainage, that can lead to a whole slew of environmental habitat disasters and human health effects. Of course, the miners getting lots of negative effects, black lung, getting mercury poisoning, lead poisoning, all that stuff. But then you also have coal ash. Coal ash is generated when you burn the coal and it turns into that fine powder, but it's like there's a whole bunch of it left over and it's just cruddy. It's awful, it's crap, you can't use it. So it ends up being stored in a nearby landfill specifically for it. And what happens is sometimes those coal ash ponds can leak, they can break, they can burst open, or in the case of in North Carolina, you can have a big power plant, a coal ash pond or coal slurry, I forget which one it was, that then leaked into the Danville River and literally poisoned so many people, and it was really, really bad. It was a huge, huge disaster. So, and I'm saying that as someone in North Carolina, there was this coal-fired power plant in Eden, North Carolina, that didn't have, there were reports of it leaking, and then all of a sudden it burst open and it completely poisoned like a whole river, and so many people got sick. It was bad. Like, anyway, in addition to coal ash, you also have coal slurry. Coal slurry, you're like, what is that? So coal slurry is literally the coal waste that after storing and washing it. So coal is washed before it's burned, and it creates this black water. This black water that's really, really nasty. So not only do you have the stuff that you burn and left over, but you also have to wash the coal, which then is also dirty. So coal ash is the fly ash, fine particulates, heavier metal that settles in the furnace, toxic metals like arsenic, mercury, lead poisoning, selenium. These are all very toxic. If you've ever heard of lead poisoning or mercury poisoning, these are really bad chemicals specifically for neurodevelopment. So these in high amounts can be very, very toxic to people. Not only does it damage the environment, like take that aspect out. If we just don't even look at the environmental costs of coal, you also have the damage to human health effects. Living near a coal plant means that you actually live fewer years. So even if you don't care about the environment, which is crazy, but even if you don't care about the environment, coal-fired power plants basically will decrease your life expectancy. They decrease your life expectancy significantly, meaning how long you live. They also increase the number of illnesses that people have. We'll get into that. And it increases cancers, cardiovascular diseases, heart diseases, and it's bad. Like, people get poisoned. People don't live as long in these rural communities that have these power plants compared to rich people who then live outside in more clean areas. But those are the people who then own those power plants. So they don't face the, quote, externalities of the pollutants. You see what I mean? So all that being said, you have the coal ash. This is stored in a fly ash pond. And then you have the coal slurry. This is what the coal ash ponds look like. They are disgusting and gross. And yeah, everything that you would expect. And fly ash, of course, stored in landfills, mixed with water, stored in ash ponds, reused in concrete. So they do try to at least recycle it in some way, which is somewhat good, as long as it's not damaging to people's health. But then you have coal slurry. So coal slurry is a completely separate pollutant that is generated after washing the coal. Because before you can burn it, you have to wash it. You have to wash it, then once it's burned, then you got the leftover ashes. So you see how much is wasted. How much is wasted through coal energy. So coal slurry ponds, coal waste impoundments, are large ponds that store liquid waste from coal mining and coal washing. It includes crushed coal, clay, rock, particulate matter. It requires chemical cleaning in order to do all of that. And these are nasty. These are nasty. These are full of a whole slew of pollutants that can poison people. And this is what sometimes it looks like. Sometimes it will leak into environmental sources and it can be really, really nasty. So coal slurry ponds, the risks include, dam failures. Okay, this is really, really bad because if that dam fails, then all of a sudden people are going to be poisoned. You have toxic leakage into water, long-term contamination of ecosystems. A lot of times, these ponds that have coal slurry, coal ash, will seep into the water. Seep into the water systems around different rural communities in particular, where poor people, low-income people, basically they're trapped there because they can't really move as easily due to their financial situation. And then when they turn on their faucet, it doesn't have as much clean water. And in fact, a lot of people who are low income live in areas that are more polluted. So that then means that they are more at risk for negative health effects. So if you completely take out environmental degradation, there is a whole social component to pollution that affects people health-wise. And in sustainable development, what I learned in school was we had all this stuff about climatology, the environment, how it affects it, how it's mined, how all of that. But then you also have the social component on how energy affects different people, different groups of people based on their income, their identity, so differently, whether it's rural or urban, all of that. And it's really, really bad. So the fact that Trump really wants to proceed with coal not only is incredibly environmentally dangerous, but it's very socially dangerous for lots of low-income, poor people trapped in these communities having to suffer from negative health effects. But then also, this is just an overall disaster because this is incredibly inefficient use of energy. If you purely are based on, okay, what's going to be the best bang for my buck in regards to mass electricity generation, purely just looking at how much energy I can create, well, actually coal is incredibly inefficient. There are no upsides to coal at all. So the fact that Trump has this weird fetish of wanting to keep it going with coal doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. It has no upsides. You generate less electricity, it's more polluting, and it poisons people. So the negative health effects, of course, you have air pollution, so carbon dioxide, driving climate change, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, mercury, of course, contaminates waterways, fine particulate matter, and these can lead to a whole slew of negative health effects. But of course, water pollution, land destruction, surface mining, including mountaintop removal, destroying ecosystems, habitat loss, soil erosion. We haven't even talked about how this also impacts farming, how this impacts our food, how this impacts our farms' crops, but then also cattle, how it impacts our poultry. It's not great. You poison that, and then you buy something from the supermarket. It trickles down. It's really bad. And then you also have, it's not as, if you purely are I don't care about the negative social effects, I don't care about the environmental effects. Let's just say you cared purely based on how much bang for your buck you can get in regards to how much electricity. Well, traditional coal power plants really convert only about 33 to 40% of coal's energy into electricity. The rest is lost as heat. Now you compare that to natural gas, which is also polluting, but you get way better bang for your buck, 55 to 62%. Now then you compare this to nuclear, and it's 33 to 37. So nuclear is a little bit different in that instance. But what that means is if you are I just want to get the most bang for my buck. Well, Coal is actually incredibly inefficient, even with the intended use of it being electricity. So again, with Trump wanting to bring back coal is the stupidest thing environmentally, socially, but also the stupidest thing for grid resiliency. It's dumb. It is the stupidest thing ever. So it's cartoonish how he wants to bring it back. It's an outdated, archaic form of energy. So I also want to talk about the social human health effects of it. I said, are people near coal plants usually sicker compared to other clean energy power plants? What illnesses do they have? Yes. So of course you have fine particulate matter, tiny particles that penetrate deep into the lungs, the bloodstream, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, gases that create smog. They can contribute to a lot of poisoning. Let me tell you what are some of these illnesses. Respiratory illnesses. High levels of asthma and attacks like that happen. Chronic cough, wheezing, shortness of breath. You're like, oh, of course, those kinds of things happen. Cardiovascular disease. This is something that has increased significantly in the United States in several different ways, but also because of pollutants from creating energy, creating the electricity we use. Cardiovascular disease, heart disease, or heart attacks, stroke, all of that, increased risk of hospitalizations, heart and lung conditions, and then also premature death. People don't live as long if they live in a community that has a coal power plant. Research estimates that air pollution from coal plants actually contributes to thousands of premature deaths each year that might be twice as harmful per unit of fine particulate matter. Also cancer. So several studies have shown that if you live in a community that has a coal-fired power plant, you are more at risk for generating different cancers because it gets into the water, it's in the air, all that stuff. Why do you think West Virginia, I used to live there, why do you think West Virginia is so sick? West Virginia has some of the lowest life expectancies, quality of life, and in general, just healthy people. Because West Virginia is a state that has been completely stripped of all of its coal, it's burned, and it poisons its people for fancy coal executives who don't even live there to then get money. They're literally trading people's livelihoods, the environment, and their social lives here in the United States. They're trading that for profits. They're poisoning people for profits. Period, end of story. I lived in West Virginia. I lived there for about a year or so when I was doing political organizing. It's awful. They have not only just lots of coal, but also petrochemical plants that poison people. It's really bad. So it's really, really disgusting. You also have mercury as a byproduct. It's also known as a neurotoxin. So coal can be really, really toxic for the development of brains, especially in infants and children as well. So all that being said, I mean, I could go on and bring you scientific study after scientific study, evidence after evidence, and it will continue. I mean, I can basically beat the blood out of a radish. I will do whatever I can in order to drill it home, literally. But how this compares to clean energy? Well, in contrast, clean energy sources are actually way better because they're more efficient, but then also they don't pollute and don't have as many negative health effects. Now again, as I said earlier in the live stream, clean energy is not purely 100% clean. That's something that I need people to understand. So when you hear clean energy is not, it's an ideal, it's not 100% possible. However, the big thing that you need to understand, the reason why people say clean energy is because of two words: harm mitigation. Harm mitigation, what that basically means is you have so many different negatives for fossil fuel energy, burning coal, burning natural gas. You get my gist. Clean energy, while it's not perfect, is so much better, of course, in regards to the efficiency of the electricity generated. You get more bang for your buck, you get less toxic human health effects, you get less environmental degradation. So while it's not perfect, it's significantly better. So that's why they call it clean energy. It should be phrased as cleaner energy. That's how you should really think about it. Whenever you see the words clean energy, in your mind, actually read it as cleaner energy, because it is significantly better. So it's more efficient and all of that stuff. But let me go back to this. So, of course, solar panels themselves don't emit air pollutants during operation, though replacing fossil fuels with solar can reduce respiratory, cardiovascular illnesses, hospital visits, premature deaths, and all of that. The one big environmental harm from solar panels is they require some rare earth minerals that you have to also mine. You have to also mine and then manufacture. But it's the same thing. You also have huge negative effects of mining for coal, whether that's strip mining, mountaintop removal, surface mining, all of that stuff, and also natural gas. You heard of fracking? That's what they do with natural gas. They go down deep into the layers of the earth and crack the shale down there in order to get all the gas. But that then seeps into the water and poisons people as well. So you have a lot of negative effects. But with clean energy, you don't have any emissions on the end. So you don't have any pollutants at the end source. So again, you do have negative effects with clean energy. It's not 100% clean, but it's cleaner. So that's why it's important. And people say, oh, well, it's not 100% clean, so why should we do it? Because of harm mitigation. If something is significantly better than something else, you don't not do it. That's stupid. That's insanity. But you see what I mean? It is a huge move forward. It's a huge step forward. So that's why clean energy or cleaner energy is so much better. Or wind power. Wind power, you still have, in some of the manufacturing, there's still some environmental externalities that come with it. And when I say externalities, I mean it can be pollutants or negative effects along the chain in regards to people, all that stuff. But it's considerably better compared to coal. If y'all are understanding my drift, then please make sure to like the stream. I just want to lay that all out there. So, going back to Trump here, now that I have laid out all about that in, hold on, I need a sip of coffee. Now that I've laid all of that out in regards to how coal is a stupid energy source for us to continue using, Trump was named the undisputed champion of beautiful clean coal by an industry group. There is no such thing as clean coal. Clean coal, there's no such thing. No, coal cannot be clean. It can't be clean. You can wash it, sure, if you want to call it clean then, but still, coal has lots of poisonous things in it as well. Especially when you wash it, it has coal slurry. When you burn it, there's coal ash. And then trying to dispose of it, it's nasty. Coal is not clean. These people are so dumb if you follow along with it, if you think that Trump is somehow speaking truth. But during the ceremony, there were a couple moments that I also want to bring attention to. So, of course, here are some pictures from it. This was the little statue. It looks like a coal miner holding a pickaxe. And you can see here are some of the pictures. This is my favorite picture here because of course you have Trump and this guy, but I like this guy's face in the back. I don't know what his facial reaction was about, but I just found it funny. Anyway, of course the internet has gone haywire with memes and all of that, but And I'll put it out there for you. Actually, wait. Before I do that, I'm gonna get to the initial thing I wanted to discuss. There were some interesting moments from this ceremony that I want to talk about before I get to people's comments and reactions. So, during this ceremony, Trump kind of tripped over his words once, and it was really, really weird. Now, of course, Biden tripped over his words. I'll trip over my words. It's pretty normal. Though, watching the moment, I was like, ugh. yeah, that can definitely be a sign of declining mental health. But a lot of people were talking about this online. Trump stumbles reading Undisputed Champion of Coal, said undisputed, and yeah, it was not great. But I think the more important moment from all of this was how condescending Trump was to coal miners. So I want to point out something. Would Pennsylvania coal miners really turn down a beautiful, magnificent Manhattan penthouse, as Trump claims? We asked them. They'd rather go 10,000 feet underground and dig. That's what they want. Here's the thing. So during this whole thing where he was awarded this thing for clean coal, Trump actually in the ceremony, literally, the way that he phrased it was so condescending and really showed how he actually views his supporters. This is what he said. One thing I learned about the coal miners is that's what they want to do. You could give them a penthouse on Fifth Avenue and a different kind of job, but they'd be unhappy. They want to mine coal. That's what they love to do. Really? He said, I love miners. They wouldn't trade jobs with me if I gave them a beautiful, magnificent penthouse in the middle of Manhattan where I used to live. If I gave them the most beautiful penthouse, they wouldn't take it. They'd rather go 10,000 feet underground and dig. That's what they want. Now I'm saying this as someone who also has a huge knack for psychology, sociology. What he's doing is, if you're one of these MAGA people, he's priming you. He's priming you. He's like, this is what you want, yeah? Yeah? You know how a parent will talk to a toddler or someone younger and they will kind of steer them into a direction. Yeah? Yeah? You want to dig? Yeah. Yeah, you want to dig. You want to dig. Like, that's what he's doing. He's trying to pacify people into accepting mediocre conditions. For instance, he says here, oh, well, if I gave them a beautiful, magnificent penthouse, they wouldn't take it. You wouldn't take it, right? No, you wouldn't take it. He's speaking for you. If you're one of MAGA's supporters, one of your Trump cultists, you know exactly, I know you, I see you in the comments. He's literally patronizing you. He is speaking for you. Now, we don't have to agree. You don't have to like me. You can call me whatever crazy things you want. But sorry, I don't think that someone who dehumanizes you and treats you like scum should earn your respect. He is literally taunting you, being like, you're going to take it. You're going to be happy. And that's what you want to do? Yeah, that's what you want to do. Like, how do you not see it? How do you not see how he treats you like cogs in a machine for his benefit? He treats you like scum. He doesn't care if you get poisoned, suffer mental health effects, negative health effects from mining. It doesn't matter. He doesn't view you as a human. He doesn't view you as an equal. He views you as lesser than, beneath him, literally. I don't know how else to get to it. It's so condescending. It's so condescending. And even if we don't agree on literally anything, sorry, I don't think that condescension, regardless of who it's towards, is okay. I really don't. I'm one of these people that if I see condescension or people being mean or disrespectful, any of that, like, I call it out. I'm like, that's rude. Trump is condescending to these coal miners during this ceremony where he's received the award. Now, there are some MAGA people who completely goes whoop, right over their heads. You know why? Because you've literally given your life to being a cog in his machine for his own benefit. You can escape from that hellhole. Get out now. Get out now. You don't have to be a part of Trump's cult. Just because you have 15 yard flags, 18 signs, 15 hats, 18 pairs of socks that have Trump's name all over them. You got the Trump Bible, the Trump cologne, the Trump shoes, the Trump shirts. You got every single thing is Trump. What are you doing? What are you doing? And then this is how he treats you. have some self-respect. Have some integrity. Anyway, so that moment actually was just, it literally made me sick to my stomach with how condescending he was towards people. Now, let me get to some other people's comments here in regards to this whole ceremony. Of course, Trump basically getting this award for clean coal, and you had people taking to the internet being like, yeah, beautiful, clean coal, and then it shows coal miners incredibly filthy. Or, yeah, clean coal. This is also important for people to understand. This is what coal power does. Now, a lot of times they'll have scrubbers or filters on the tops of power plants, yes. That eliminates some of the air pollutants, sure. But clean coal, what it means is it's not actually clean. It's a misnomer. Like, clean coal is not possible. It's not possible. You can try, but it's not going to work. And of course, a lot of people were clowning on Trump, being like, congratulations, President Trump, 1984 All-Valley Karate Champion. Or this one, congratulations, most mentions in the Epstein files, woohoo! Or this one, we're here today to give ourselves a trophy for coal power, more expensive than wind and solar, more radioactive than nuclear power. Facts. Or this one, Timu Peace Prize. Or Simone Biles giving Trump, this image is haunting, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but I saw that and I was like, I have to put that out there. Where's the Grim Reaper's Most Beautiful Death Award with the promise it will be renamed to reflect the recipient? This fool legacy gonna be big narcissistic event known in history. It's so stupid. Remembering that these beautiful miners of beautiful clean coal are going to need 100% black lung and other disease benefits, because we know coal mining is actually dirty as well as dangerous. 100% it is. 100% it is. And where can we find this nice clean coal? It's not a thing. I fully expect the Seven Dwarfs to present him the hi ho, it's off to the coal mines we go award. So this is not the only award that Trump has received that has been completely made up just to stroke his ego. You also had FIFA, the FIFA World Cup, basically giving him a scrotum tickling trophy. No, you're not imagining. That's what the trophy looks like. So, of course, he got a medal of some kind, and just look at his face. Look at his face. But then FIFA also gave him this trophy, which I think the trophy is supposed to depict hands holding up the globe. But tell me, what do you see when you look at that trophy? What do you see? What do you see? It looks like scrotum tickling. So Trump, who had openly campaigned for the Nobel Peace Prize, had been heavily expected to receive the newly created FIFA prize. So he's given a FIFA Peace Prize. He's given a clean coal prize. This is all just to stroke his ego. It's so pathetic. It's so pathetic. They just generate, what kind of prizes can be made for me today? What kind of prizes? I'd like this kind of prize. I like this kind of prize. I like this kind of prize, just not enterprise. Sorry, not enterprise. I don't like to rent the car. I like to own the car. Like, literally, these awards are all created just to stroke Trump's ego. Or tickle his you-know-what, because he received this kind of trophy. Like, look at this. Look at this. FIFA claims the prize is for someone who has taken exceptional actions for peace and unity. Trump fucking kidnapped the leader of Venezuela. How is he a peaceful man? Trump has tried to declare war. He has literally tried to take Greenland. He's trying to annex Canada as a state. He is not peaceful at all. The only peace he knows is a piece of chocolate. Like, that. And so, when I'm looking at that, now I can't unsee it, and neither can you. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And of course, they made him a fake trophy to stop his bitching and moaning. 100%. He's about to start a war with Venezuela, but FIFA president basically showering him with sycophancy, creating a category that never existed and awarded Trump. Shameful. Someone also created this meme, and I found this so funny. Just look at Trump's face. This is not real, but I just found this so funny. Yeah. Anyway, that all being said, someone's like, "Oh, give him a FUPA Peace Prize. Give him a FUPA Peace Prize." The award is BS to flatter someone's already inflated ego. How could FIFA possibly go any lower? Yeah, 100%. So, anyway, that's a little bit of a rundown of today's live stream. Is there any comments I need to respond to before I get into our executive summary about everything today? I appreciate every single one of you. You all are amazing. I hope this live stream has been helpful. And I am about to do a summary, so don't leave. And basically my summary is when I go through and I just highlight everything. I do my best to then take out every single filler word, make it easy to understand. So I'll do that in just a minute here, but let me take a sip of my coffee. Do we have any questions, moderators, before I go through and do our executive summary today? I hope that, before I do, was my coverage of how energy is produced, like coal energy, was that helpful? Because I don't think a lot of people actually understand how energy is produced these days. That's not something that's really taught in school. But it's something that affects our everyday lives. But then also, again, it's important to note that clean coal, of course, is a misnomer. No energy source is 100% clean, but it is very worth it to then go forward with cleaner energy sources because harm mitigation. So I'm going to do our executive summary here. Let me just rewind my music. Then we'll fully get into it. All right. Alrighty. Are we ready for the executive summary here? I appreciate every single one of you. Let me get into it. All right, here we go. Oh, that was a bad tongue pop. Hold on. I'm learning how to do tongue pops. So anyway, good morning, beautiful people. I hope you all are thriving, not just surviving. Another crazy day in America where Donald Trump is given a made-up award just to stroke his ego. Yeah. Of course, it's one of those days, because that day is almost every day, apparently, from now on. So Trump was named the undisputed champion of clean coal. There is no such thing as clean coal. That is an oxymoron. There's no such thing by this industry group. So we'll talk about that in a minute here. I appreciate every single one of you. Ooh, I see a super chat. This has been a helpful show. I didn't know anything about the coal story. Thank you. Yeah, this was kind of brushed over within the news. So I was happy to reserve it for Friday. So, of course, Trump named undisputed champion of beautiful clean coal by industry group. Award was presented as the president directed the Pentagon to buy billions of dollars worth of energy from coal plants. Not only is this incredibly stupid, it is going to continue to poison people, have negative social externalities, and all just benefit the coal industry, which poisons people. So, anyway, you get my gist. Let me continue onward here. So, with all of this, Donald Trump was crowned the undisputed champion of beautiful clean coal, an oxymoron, not possible, during a White House ceremony on Wednesday, during which the president received a trophy after ordering the U.S. Department of Defense to purchase billions of dollars worth of power from coal plants. The award was reportedly granted by the Washington Coal Club. Yes, that is apparently a thing. It's so stupid. an advocacy group with financial ties to the coal industry. Now, Trump has actually taken a lot of money from the coal industry, and I can go through and show you all the different stuff. Of course, I go and look at top campaign contributors. You can go to opensecrets.org and look at any lawmaker. You can see their ties to whatever industries. And this goes both sides of the aisle. You can see this is a lot of the money that Trump took during the 2024 election from different PACs. This is all generated from campaign finance data from the Federal Elections Commission disclosures. And you can see down here, all the way towards the bottom, that Trump took about $25 million from the oil and gas industry, but that's only what is reported because there's such a thing as dark money, which means that goes unreported. We don't even know how to track it. That's a whole nother thing. Go and look it up if you're curious. But that all being said, of course, he takes a whole bunch of money from the coal mining industry. I encourage you to go check it out. And a lot of the coal mining industry donates a lot more to Republicans than Democrats. It's actually barely even you can barely even say that Democrats take money from the coal industry anymore. They used to, but now they're like, yeah, no. But that being said, anyone who takes money from the coal industry, I think, is scum. So, continuing onward here, he basically was awarded this prize to stroke his ego about clean coal, which is not even a thing. And James Greach, the CEO of Peabody Energy, the largest coal company in the US, presented Trump with the bronze trophy that depicts a coal miner donning a headlamp and a pick. So we stand here representing the thousands of coal miners across the country to express our deep gratitude to you, sir, for your actions you've taken to support our industry. Basically, Trump is literally propping up the coal industry, which is a dying industry. And in the meantime, more and more people are going to get poisoned from the negative environmental externalities, as well as the human health effects that can come along with the pollution. So, and habitat destruction. Yeah, it's going to be really bad. So, before I continue onward with specifically this story, I want to talk about how coal energy actually works. Personally, I have a degree in sustainable development and political science. My biggest thing I studied in school was how energy is produced, how it's distributed, but then also what are energy's effects on politics, the economy, the environment, and social populations of different groups. Coal energy only has downsides. Seriously, if you look at compared to other electricity generation, you look at natural gas, you look at you look at biomass, you look at solar, you look at wind. Coal is just a horrible choice, no matter what. Even if you don't care about the environment, even if you don't care about the people who can be poisoned from the pollution, coal is way more inefficient. It is way less efficient than other sources of energy. So the fact that Trump is trying to prop up this dying industry is cartoonish, literally. And it's going to continue to poison people, all that stuff. But if there's any part of the live or the video that you're watching today, this is going to be the most important, because I guarantee that a good chunk of you might actually know this. So you're like, okay, I know electricity. I plug in my electronic device and it charges. Charges my phone, my computer, the lights overhead, my ring light that I have right here. So electricity, we kind of just use it and don't even think about where it comes from. Let me tell you how most energy has been created and used in the United States, but also in the world. So for those of you who are like, well, I don't even know how they generate electricity. How do they do that? You generate electricity by rubbing magnets together. Basically, that's what a generator does, rubbing magnets together. Now you're like, okay, well, in order to rub magnets together, then you'll just plug in some device that rubs them together. No, because the trick is, you need something to rub them together to generate the electricity. So you're like, oh crap, how are we gonna generate force without electricity? So, the way that most electricity is generated is rubbing those magnets together. But you need a good force. So, steam. Steam is what they use. So steam is really, really strong and powerful. Yes, the kind of steam that when you're making pasta, boiling water, yes, that's steam. You're like, really? That can be a powerful source? Yes, on a mass scale, that water vapor, that steam can be huge. Think of storms. Storms can be powerful. That water vapor is powerful. So the way that electricity is generated is through fossil fuels. You burn something to then boil water to create steam, which flows and turns a turbine, basically a huge industrial-sized fan, that then uses the motion to rub the magnets together. That is how electricity is generated. So electricity is generated because steam turns a turbine to move a generator, creating electricity. So fossil fuel power is when you burn a substance to then heat up the water. So burning coal burns at a very high temperature, which means that the water can get really, really hot, which means that it can create steam very easily. So coal power plants generate electricity by burning coal to produce steam, which spins a turbine connected to a generator, rubbing the magnets together, creating electricity. Step-by-step process is that coal is delivered and pulverized. In order to burn it, you have to, of course, crush it first. You can't just have lumps of coal and you burn it as easily. You have to pulverize it into a finer dust in order for that to then be easy to burn. Then the powdered coal is burned in a furnace. The heat converts the water in the boiler tubes into high-pressure steam. That steam then spins a turbine, which that steam spins that turbine connected to a generator that then creates electricity. Here's a visual. You see the coal coming in over here, they burn it in here, and you have these little tubes that carry water, turns it to steam. Then it goes over to the turbine, which it turns. That steam has a very, very strong force, which then turns the magnets, creating electricity. That's how it works. In a sense, you can also use this model with natural gas. You burn the natural gas, and it generates steam, because that natural gas basically heats up water, turns it to steam, turns the turbine, creates electricity. So with all of that, you're like, oh, great, electricity. Well, what happens is you have to figure out where to put all of the discarded coal ash that can sometimes come out of the stack here. Or also, in order to then have it be burned, you have to, of course, wash it first. So you have coal fly ash, you have coal pit ash, you have coal, coal slurry. It's bad. So you have a lot of pollution that comes with it because you got a lot of crap that's generated by coal. Literally, a lot of crap. So yeah, you might get electricity, but you got all this literal crud you have to figure out where to put. And with all of that, you get into the problems of coal energy, which happens where you have coal fly ash, coal slurry, and you have to figure out where to dispose of it. So let me tell you what coal slurry is first. Coal slurry is basically large ponds that have water and coal and a whole bunch of toxic chemicals that are really, really bad. Mercury, selenium, all these things from coal slurry. It's very toxic to humans. Also really bad for the environment. And if it's not disposed of correctly, it can seep into the groundwater, poisoning the natural environment, but then also poisoning groundwater sources for people to consume. Think about also the effects that it has to farming. So if the water is polluted, then the animals can get contaminated, and then it can poison them. It can lead to a whole bunch of negative externalities along the food chain, literally along the chain of our food supply. It's bad. So you have coal slurry, then you also have coal ash. Coal ash is the stuff that is left over solid waste after it's burned. Some of it goes up into the atmosphere, which then is obviously pollution. You'll notice you'll see in cartoons or whatever imagery, like the smokestack kind of thing. You see, oh, it pumps out the coal and then it's like negative and toxic and bad and stuff like that. They have most all coal power plants have a scrubber, have a filter where it takes out a good chunk of that here, but it's not fully encompassing. So there's still some that is contaminated into the atmosphere. And the big thing about coal is, of course, you have to mine it, then you have to wash it, then you got to burn it, then you got to dispose of it. But coal is not only bad for the environment, but also bad for humans too. So let me get back to my order here. So let me just specifically talk. Let's say that you don't care about the negative environmental effects whatsoever. You're like, I don't care. Well, coal also poisons people. So coal power plants are linked to a lot of negative health conditions for human populations. So if you didn't even care about the animals, you didn't care about the environment, you didn't care about any of that, at least care about the negative effects of coal because it poisons people. So coal-fired power plants emit a mix of harmful pollutants, including fine particulate matter, which those will seep into your lungs, literally, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, gases that form smog, acid rain, aggravate respiratory diseases, mercury, other heavy metals, which are neurotoxins, and it can be really, really bad, specifically for infants and children. And with all of this, people who live closer towards coal-fired power plants suffer disproportionate amounts, higher amounts from certain diseases, asthma or respiratory illnesses, chronic wheezing, shortness of breath. And this affects a lot of kids too. Like if you have a big power plant next to an elementary school, it's like really bad for the kids' health. And then cardiovascular disease. I bet you didn't know that fossil fuels actually are contributing to Americans' declining health. For instance, heart attacks, stroke, heart disease, increased risk of hospitalization from heart and lung conditions. The reason why China particularly they're still building coal plants, but they have really tried to decrease the amount of coal pollutants is because it was really, really affecting a lot of people in China, their cardiovascular disease. It was affecting their hearts and lungs really badly. And they've tried to clean it up, at least in a sense. So even if you don't care about the environment, at least care about how it affects people in different populations. Now, here's the thing. There are some people who will say, oh, well, I really don't care about how it affects people. Then you're just a psychopath. You're a sociopath. Living near these coal-fired power plants in general, are often located in places where there are low-income people. You know why? Because low-income people don't have the money to fight back against the development. You don't often see power plants located in wealthy or rich parts of cities or states. You don't see it located nearby to that area. Usually a power plant is located in a place that is zoned, being like, okay, this place can be compromised. That's kind of how they view it. Okay, so here's this power plant, we can locate it here, we can these people are poor, they don't have as much money to fight back. If they get poisoned, they get poisoned. Those are sometimes the conversations that executives, a part of energy companies, will have. They're like, oh, we'll just put it here. Because if we put it in a rich community, they'll obviously get upset. They'll do everything possible to have it moved. So these power plants get placed in areas that poison people, but then they don't have any recourse. What, moving to another poor area with another one? Unless they somehow strike it rich and move to a less polluted area. So it has a lot of social dynamics as well. Not even just environmentally toxic for of course, the habitat and just groundwater, all of that, but it poisons people as well. And so it increases cardiovascular diseases, it increases cancers, premature death. What it also can do is have a sharp rise in cancers as well. So some studies have found higher cancer incidence, lung, liver, bladder, in populations living near coal plants compared to those further away. And of course, I could go through all the different scientific studies, all of the different case studies, everything, but you get my gist. Coal energy is really, really bad for its human health effects, its environmental effects, and another thing, coal is just less efficient in regards to pure raw energy generation. So if you're like, oh, well, I really don't care about how it affects people, you're a psycho, or how it affects the environment, you're scum. But I care about my money. I care about how it's efficient, how much energy can be produced. Well, coal is one of the most expensive forms of energy now. Like, it's one of the most expensive forms of energy because it has all of those negative effects. You have to pay and figure out where you're going to put all the pollutants. You have to pay and figure out where you're going to store all the crap, all the coal slurry, all the coal ash. You might have to give a settlement and have money left over for legal because your power plant poisons people. And you got to compensate them. So coal is just expensive compared to other forms of pollution, other forms of energy like natural gas, which are also bad, but it's cleaner comparatively. So in regards to pure raw energy generation, you also have coal being less efficient. So with coal, traditional coal plants convert only about 33 to 40% of coal's energy into electricity. The rest is lost as heat. So if you want to look at the efficiency, coal is around 33 to 45% efficient. Natural gas, you can harness between 55 and 62% of the energy stored in natural gas. Nuclear is 33 to 37. So basically, if you want to look at it just with, I don't care about the negative effects on people or the environment, coal is a stupid option, period. There's no upsides to coal. So going to what Trump is doing, receiving an award like this for coal miners, like for all of it, this is stupid. It's stupid because it is inefficient, poisons people, and poisons the environment. There's no upsides to coal. None whatsoever. I lived in West Virginia. My mom's family is from West Virginia. I have seen what has happened to that state. West Virginia, it's really sad when you go there. No, I'm purely just being real. I lived in Charleston, West Virginia for a year when I would move around and do stuff politically. I lived and did different jobs in different states and stuff like that. It was so sad because West Virginia is a state that's been very left behind. Literally, you had these rich, wealthy executives go through and use the population of people to mine coal, deforest their nice state. They have basically robbed West Virginia of their resources, robbed them of their dignity. West Virginia, I don't even want to use this, but if you want to compare it, they're like a third world state. They're a third world state because their resources are just taken from them, but they're not adequately compensated. Compared to North Carolina, where I live now, this is where I'm originally from, North Carolina is a little bit more of a high-tech state because we have a lot of biotech, a lot of pharma, a lot of high-tech industry that creates high-paying jobs in North Carolina. So compare West Virginia to North Carolina, it's a big difference. And West Virginia just has a lot of people who have been left behind. They've been robbed of their resources, robbed of their dignity, barely even compensated, and poisoned as well. It's really sad. So continuing onward with what Trump is doing is he doesn't want to progress into an equitable future. He literally wants to keep people poisoned for his own benefit. And I'll tell you, a lot of the people who own these coal-fired power plants, the people who are the industry titans, they barely spend time in that state. They don't want to be around the crap, the pollution. No. Like the former Democrat of West Virginia before it became a super red state, his name was Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin. He took so much money from the coal industry, and he also, I believe, owned a coal power plant, if I'm remembering correctly. And he's like, I don't like people demonizing coal. Well, they basically robbed West Virginia of its energy sources and treated their people like garbage, mining all of this. And Trump literally in this whole ceremony was so condescending, which I'll get to that even further. But the fact that the coal industry is awarding him with this garbage trophy just to stroke his ego, and in the meantime, coal is a very inefficient, disgusting form of energy, poisons people, poisons the environment. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. Now, there's one big moment from this live. There's one big moment from this ceremony that I want to talk about. And it really shows what Trump actually thinks about his supporters. So this is literally what he was talking about in the ceremony. He said, one thing I learned about coal miners is that's what they want to do. You could give them a penthouse on Fifth Avenue in a different kind of job, but they'd be unhappy. They want to mine coal. That's what they love to do. He literally went on to say, I love miners. They wouldn't trade jobs with me if I gave them a beautiful, magnificent penthouse in the middle of Manhattan where I used to live. If I gave that to them, that most beautiful penthouse, they wouldn't take it. They wouldn't take it. They'd rather go 10,000 feet underground and dig. That's what they want. The way that Trump is speaking, and when I watched the ceremony, it was very condescending. You know when you will talk to a child, a toddler, or maybe even your pet. Like, who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? The way that Trump's doing it is it's like, who's a good miner? You love being down there. You wouldn't trade for my rich penthouse. You wouldn't trade any of those things. You just want to mine. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to mine. That's all that you want to do. He's speaking on behalf of you, being condescending, looking down on you. That's how Trump views his supporters. He views them as a gold mine to tap into, a cog and a machine for his benefit. Trump brainwashes them into buying 57 shirts, 14 flags, 18 yard signs, a pair of Trump sneakers, a Trump Bible, a Trump cologne. Now he launched his Trump RX. This guy is a narcissist, but he's also using people. He uses people like cogs in a machine for his benefit. He doesn't care about you at all. And it's like, who's a good boy? You want to mine the coal? You want to mine the coal for me? He's so condescending. At least don't blame progressives or Democrats for trying to wake you up from the slumber. Don't blame us for trying to inform you and give you the agency to think critically for yourself. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. So, that all being said, this is not the only weird, stupid trophy he's received recently. Of course, he received this, this coal mining trophy, but also, if you all remember back during the FIFA World Cup, Trump received this trophy. It was the FIFA Cup Peace Prize. And yes, that's exactly what you're thinking when you're looking at the trophy. Those hands are trying to hold up the globe. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to hold up the globe. What does it look like to you? It looks like a little ball is like being tickled. To me, it looks like scrotum tickling. Pure, raw, and simple. That's what it looks like. And this was also his face from receiving this medal. part of it, I'm like, what is this? Is this all just literally to stroke his ego? And the fact that there are people like, oh, he giving him a peace prize. This is a guy who literally kidnapped the leader of Venezuela. Kidnapped the leader of Venezuela. He's trying to annex Canada to being a state. He wants to invade Greenland. He is not peaceful in any sort of way. He's not peaceful at all. He motivated his supporters to overthrow the American government because he lost an election in 2020. He is not peaceful whatsoever. The only peace he knows is a piece of chocolate. Like, dude. So, it's not the only prize that he's received recently. Awards just created and given to him just to stroke his ego or tickle his, yeah. So, that's where we are right now. And it's crazy. But I have to get going here. I appreciate every single one of you. You all are amazing, even if you don't like me. I have been trying to post more videos. I'm trying to post more videos on my channel. Right now, I feel like I'm being heavily shadow banned, which really, really sucks. And it really is unfortunate because I'm trying to inform people. If you all really appreciated this live stream, then please let me know. Also, go check out my latest videos. I take moments from the lives and I edit them into videos. So if you really liked a certain section and you want to see it, then let me know. So I appreciate every single one of you, even if you don't like me. So anyway, I have to get going. Shout out to my amazing moderators in here. Elisa, Cantisa, Akicha, Ellie, you all are amazing. To all the people who are trying to leave trolling comments, bless your heart. Bless your heart. Anyway, I appreciate every single one of you. Just remember that you are beautiful. Kate, love you. Cherie, love you. Just remember that you are beautiful, you are loved, you are valid, you are strong, and you are fierce. Don't let anyone or anything ever dim your shine. I love all of you so much. Bye!